birthing person. Liberals beg Democrats to ditch woke lingo and talk normally. This is hilarious to see. Do I think they're going to stop? No, they're too far gone. They refuse to course correct. I don't see it happening before the 2026 election. They're continuing to talk like this. But it's fun to watch them send out these memos and try to get people to course correct. But they're not going to do it. But we're going to talk a little bit about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Daily Caller, and they report that liberal think tank Third Way is calling on Democrats to avoid using woke jargon that it warns could alienate voters. Too late. Too late. No one talks like this besides these crazy leftists. The Third Way released a memo on Thursday outlining 45 words and phrases they want Democrats to refrain from using because, quote, no ordinary person would ever dream of saying them, as Politico first reported. This is funny that they have to do this. I mean, because they're so lost that they change the way normal people talk with these crazy things, these pronouns. If someone said they want to be called a dragon, you got to call them a dragon, supposedly giving into their delusion. This is nonsense. Normal people do not talk this way. But again, I don't see them changing. The Third Way claimed in the memo that some of the language Democrats use makes the party sound like, quote, extreme, divisive, elitists, and obfuscatory enforcers of wokeness. They're correct on that. They're absolutely correct on that. But, quote, in reality, most Democrats do not run or govern on widely out-of-touch social positions, Third Way's memo said. But voters would be excused to believe we do because of the words that come out of our mouths, words which sound like we are hiding behind unfamiliar phrases to mask extreme intent. One category of language Third Way wants Democrats to stay away from is using includes what they refer to as, quote, therapy speak, which mentions words and phrases including privilege, environmental violence, dialoguing, othering, triggering, and microaggression. Well, I can say as a therapist, I never used any of those terms ever, except maybe trigger. Like, you know, I do use the word trigger, but aside from that, I've never ever used any of these phrases when I talk to my clients. It's nonsense. The think tank suggests that these types of words sound like Democrats are telling voters, I'm more empathetic than you, and you are callous to hurting others' feelings. Additionally, Third Way wrote in the memo that Democrats should not use gender orientation correctness terminology, which includes words such as birthing person, cisgender, dead naming, heteronormative, patriarchy, and LGBTQIA+. Again, do you really believe they're going to stop talking like this? Third Way asserted that the use of these types of words suggests Democrats are implying that others' views on traditional genders and gender roles are at best quaint. They're not wrong with that either. But again, they're speaking, they're basically yelling at a wall. These people aren't going to stop talking like this. The report comes as the Democrat Party has been attempting to rebrand in time for the midterm amid plummeting approval ratings following its decisive loss on Election Day 2024. Additionally, some Democrats have recently claimed that party members have begun to speak like professors. Okay. And that's what's wrong with our institutions. Professors do actually talk like this. They say, quote, we are doing our best to get Democrats to talk like normal people and stop talking like they're leading a seminar at Antioch. Matt Bennett, Third Way's executive vice president of public affairs, told Politico. We think language is one of the central problems we face with normie voters, signaling that we are out of touch with how they live, think, and talk. In recent weeks, this has become a bit of a thing with comedians like Jimmy Kimmel and Sarah Silverman highlighting how insane Dems can sometimes sound. Really, I don't know. I don't watch any of those people, so I didn't know they were actually talking like this. Also, elected officials like Delaware Rep. Sarah McBride and Kentucky Governor Andy Bashar are begging their colleagues to just be normal again. That's how bad, that's how far the Democrat Party has fallen. When you have people literally coming out telling them, hey, just try to be normal. Oh my gosh, man, this is hilarious that they even have to do this. McBride, a biological male who identifies as a female, told Politico in August 1st interview that, quote, voters feel like Democrats have sort of been assholes to them. Similarly, Lane Erickson, Third Way senior vice president, told Politico she thinks the Democratic Party has become too focused on never making anyone upset about anything. People can't relate to something unless it has some edge about it, Erickson told the outlet. And we have shaved off all of our edges in an attempt to never make anyone upset about anything. Moreover, a New York Times analysis of voter registration data released Wednesday showed that the Democratic Party saw a decline of roughly 2.1 million registered voters between 2020 and 2024 elections, while Republicans added 2.4 million registered voters during the same period of time. So again, they're trying to course correct. They know that this is they're whistling past a graveyard. This is the end of the Democrat Party, and they're trying to do something to try to fix it, but it's too little, too late, because they aren't going to change. The Democrats, the leftists are not going to change. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.